me, what stood out, there's a lot of good football there. Some critical stops, 3rd and 4th down, kept us in the game for a long time. I think we talked about that after, but some legitimate effort, trying to be physical with it, tackling for the most part. We did have the bust kind of in coverage for the long touchdown, but the defensive effort for most of the night kept us around that one. Offensively, I thought, let's go play tough. Standing in there, we got to continue to find ways to keep him upright, and that's 11-man. I've said it before, but some of the timing on things could have been better to keep him upright, but we got to protect him better too. In that, I did think Elijah had some good runs in there. Obviously, the first one in the game, but there's some quality runs there, but just not enough offensively to finish drives, especially a couple missed opportunities with field position that we didn't take advantage of. It could have made a difference in the game, didn't do it. And then special teams wise, still some things to clean up. I thought some effort though. Jammers and gunners, so both sides of the punting aspect, there was some quality play. Avion Grosshorn and running down, making a huge tackle. Keyshawn Wynn, a true freshman, doing some things on punt. Eckley had some good hang time and direction there. So we're going to need it head into this week with the outfit we're playing on special teams, and I know we'll get into those guys. And so give Iowa a ton of respect, deep respect really for Coach Ferentz, and winning his coach in Big Ten history, been doing it at a high level for a long time and in a first-class manner. The way he operates, and this team is similar to what they're known for. They play really good defense, make it hard in a lot of ways, whether you're trying to run it or throw it. The quarterback makes a difference. His experience you can see on tape and making good decisions with it. It complements a really good run game, which Iowa again is known for. Throw in then the special team side, big time returner. They make it difficult and a hostile place to play. So all that combines to a real challenge that. We're going to go back to work starting tomorrow morning, practice-wise, to get ready for the opportunity that is playing a really good team on the road.
And I'm wondering if you have any sort of injury update on Aiden for the week ahead, and then also for the guys like Galante and Dooley and guys who've had injuries that they aren't out for the season, but it's sort of getting short in the season. If you anticipate that those guys might be able to play these next 2 games.
On Aiden's side, we're going to kind of see if he can work himself to being available by the end of the week. I think there's a potential chance. He doesn't have something that's deemed like he's out for the rest of the year, so we'll see at the end of the week on him. The last report I got yesterday, we didn't go into detail on a couple of those long-term guys, but we're not anticipating someone who's been out, 8-10 weeks for this week to come back.
I'm wondering when you went back and did look at the offensive line, and what were the pluses and minuses you saw, particularly with the young guys, and when you look at the lumps that they've taken the last few weeks, how important is that for long-term development for those guys? In particular, I'm thinking like obviously Rustin and Rakeem.
The 2 redshirt freshmen. Yeah. Yep. I think watching the tape, some of the maybe call it plus sides, they did have multiple snaps, just kind of showing some of their athleticism on the wide zone plays, athleticism in regards to changing direction and some pass pro. Really both of them, and they're not excluded all 5, but both of them had some times where they got bull rushed and turned into some pressure that was created. In particular, the value for those, these reps are going to count. They're going to have really good careers. Both of them are going to be really good players. They are redshirt freshmen right now. You continue to give them another year in the weight room, within the scheme, they're going to be really good players.
Coach, one of the most consistent things throughout the entire season has been the play of Ryan Eckley. Can you talk for a minute about the importance and the value that he brings to the team as a leader and as an athlete?
Yeah, he's been really consistent. He's talented, right? And so a lot of talented players. Well, what makes them be so consistent is his approach, his maturity. I do think he's a good teammate in regards to knowing his role can be a vital factor. Because it's not just about how far he can kick it. It's where he's kicking it, the hang time of it. I appreciate the leadership. He's owned a couple bad reps by him. He's owned that. And he's a talented, gifted player that can change field position in a hurry. And he's got a long future ahead of him, I believe, playing this game.
Speaking of bull rush, your quarterback Alessio got beat up pretty bad the other day. Did he practice today? I mean, he got battled around pretty good, didn't he?
He did, in regards to getting batted around. We don't practice on Mondays. We didn't practice yesterday, so we'll kind of see, but he is definitely mid-season healthy after a couple starts.
So he's okay.
We are optimistic that he'll be good to go this weekend. He's a tough kid. I meant, even late in that game gets out of hand, right? And so we got a final drive. It turns into 3rd and 18, right? I think it's our second to last snap. That kid is still standing in that pocket, keeping his eyes down the field, buying another half second to deliver a 15-yard dig route when the game is at. I thought he showed a lot of the competitive character in that particular rep.
You're still standing, too. You remain remarkably upbeat through some real strife here this season. How have you done that, and is that a message to your team at all?
In ways, I do think as coaches, we want to model a way. And so what we ask of our players, can we model the same in regards to going back to work, understanding that, yeah, we've come up short. Well, what do? You start to point the finger, that kind of thing. You own what you control. We do this thing together, and all of those things to try to model in regards to being, the leader of a group of guys that they've been working really hard. We've come up short, and that's, tough to go through. But a lot of times the best things in life come after hard, and I'm still optimistic on that end.
So you see light at the end of this tunnel. You're optimistic still, right?
Yeah, I am, man. And as hard as that is, just some of that optimism comes from the day-to-day of watching these guys work, watching this staff continue to try to find answers, and also understanding this is a high level of competition we've been playing with or playing against. And so that's compounded to us coming up short multiple times in a row now. But I feel like even in a couple of those games, a few plays could change the game. We're not that far away from getting ourselves 2, 3, 4 wins. I'm not here to say 7, but 2, 3, 4, I don't think we're that far away.
Jonathan, you mentioned that optimism and positivity, but how do you get power brokers, and I think of people signing contracts, donating, like the people who are behind the scenes in powerful positions in the sport to sort of share that optimism about your program? What do you have to do to get that to translate?
Yeah, I think consistency. Obviously, the what shows on Saturday is the most seen, but also asking everyone to continue to find the day-to-day work, the approach we're taking, buying into that, and somewhat controlling what we can control. As a coach, as the coaches, as the players, what we can control is how we go to work tomorrow, and then obviously how hard and how well we play on Saturday.
You've only got 2 more games in this season. Do you feel like you have enough runway to sort of prove those things and sort of, I guess, win people over to that point?
What I know is we've got 2 more games, and so that's the complete focus in regards to keeping the main thing, and our approach. We know we've got 2 more, and we know we've got practice on Tuesday, and we know we've got some redshirt freshmen out there playing, and we know we've got some guys working, and so to continue to push to get that, all of those things better each and every day.
Coach, right here, you mentioned earlier that Iowa's defense is going to compose some challenges. They're ranked top 10 in total defenses. I was wondering from watching the tape, what makes this defense so dangerous?
Complete, I'd describe it. You talk about the front, challenging, physical, well-coached, sound. They don't try to, trick you a ton in regards to they know their scheme, and it's a solid, good scheme. They've been doing it for decades now. So it starts in the front, but on the back end, good secondary coverage disguise, can challenge you man-to-man, mix of a pressure package to a coverage package, so they can challenge you in multiple ways.
Coach, looking at senior day, a couple of seniors, Isaac Smith and Malcolm Bell, did not go out for festivities. Is there any potential more eligibility for them beyond this season?
Those 2 in particular, yes, there is. I know on Isaac's end, and nowadays, a guy doesn't get his additional year, and I'm not saying specific to either of those 2 right now, I'm just saying, guy gets hurt in his first or second year, he gains that additional year after a waiver that takes place after his eligibility would be over, and so there's petitions for that. I'm not saying that those particular, but I know a lot of the cases in this day and age, guys find a way to have another year.
Jonathan over here. You said you didn't practice yesterday. Is that first time this season you haven't gone Sunday?
No, there's just been a couple Sundays. I think I know of one that whether we returned late, things like that. Plus, it's getting into game 11 of the body blows on things. That's why we made the decision to not go on the grass.
And how much do you look back at last year's game against Iowa? Because you guys, I mean, you played pretty well and dominated them with like things that worked. Do you revisit some of that?
100%, yeah, 100%. You look at last year's game, which they'll do as well. But yeah, and that's not just common just because whatever we played well against Iowa last year. We always go back on last year's games and things, but that'll be a part of preparing a plan.
Right here, Jonathan, kind of building on what Connor was asking about, obviously revenue share and NIL are kind of paramount to roster building these days, and I'm just curious where things have been with you and Jay Batt getting going in his tenure and kind of where you feel things stand with that and as you kind of approach the transfer window and signing day.
Yeah, those things are vitally important in this landscape as it goes. Again, me and Jay consistently met each week throughout the season, already met today, having conversations on where that goes. And I think about, too, the infrastructure beyond just the dollar amounts, the infrastructure on that and best practices and how we've been approaching that. So I feel we're aligned on that.
Is that the infrastructure, is that something you feel Jay is really taking on? I think that's something he kind of talked about in his intro.
Yeah, he has some thoughts and visions for that. Those will be specific to him on how they get those executed, but he has some thoughts and visions for that.
You mentioned about their quarterback. Obviously, Gronowski has won a national title, and wondering how much does he make their offense different than a year ago when you faced them?
Well, I just thinking about specifically what I've seen this year, decision-making, his ability to run, command of the offense. You can see it, get him in and out of plays. His experience shows up on tape with just the positive plays he makes versus how many small amount of negatives.
Jonathan, you came in here with a plan, obviously one that had worked before. Maybe took a little longer than you wanted in Corvallis, but are you surprised at the pace of the build here, and what's been the biggest problem to getting it at the rate you want it done?
Right. I don't know about surprise. Knowing things are going to be challenging. I go back to, again, the league, the formation of the 18 teams, how competitive this thing is. And so, yeah, we've come up short this year in ways, and some of that, yeah, it's not easy. But, we can do hard things. I am still confident in an approach of development in the player, finding ways to help them continue to grow, but not so stubborn that, when you got to adjust, and we got to continue to look at ways to adjust to get this thing in a better place.
Is it unreasonable to think that Michigan State could go from where it was to where you want it to be in 2 years?
Yeah, I don't know about unreasonable. I know on our end, we're not happy sitting here without a win in conference play. So whether it's unreasonable or not, there's genuine frustration with the not having a win yet, and we're continuing to, stay in the fight to get one.
Jonathan, I'm wondering, as we get late in the season here, what have you thought and observed just about sort of the value that Matt Galvin's brought to the offense? I'm guessing he's played the most snaps on that side without seeing it. Just what has he brought for?
Yeah, he's been vitally important. I think he's played really at a high level. I think he's gotten some credit in regards to people paying attention to the play he's had, organization at the front, not just on game day, the communication, right, getting us in the right call type thing, but even the work, Tuesday, Wednesday, his voice has been huge for that room with some of the injuries, the rotation part, playing a couple of younger players. That guy has been a key part of that group.
Also wanted to ask, we noticed Ryan Eckley ran out for the senior day, technically has a year left. Has he indicated that he's going to be done after this year, or is that kind of in case I want to do this thing?
I haven't deeply talked to him on it. I think we did have a couple of guys just in case type thing. I do think his football career, he has a chance to play this thing for a long time. I think that's probably in his mind as well.
You had mentioned both the quarterbacks being banged up with Aiden and Alessio. I'm wondering, first of all, is that a situation, if they are both able to go, that you could minimize some of the damage to both of them by playing both? And secondly, if neither can go, I would assume
Yep.
Leo and then,
Yeah, Leo would be next in line, and he's been getting reps, especially over the last couple of weeks. He'll get reps this week. True freshman, but I think he's got a bright future. If both Alessio and Aiden are available, yeah, it's not outside the realm of possibility. You'd see them both.
And one quick thing, Drew Nichols, it seems like, has been gotten a lot of praise from you guys as staff. I think 3 times he's been your scout team. I'm the player of the week, but for a guy like that who shows promise in practice and is on the younger side, especially on offensive line, where you mentioned the weight room earlier with your 2 redshirt freshmen, is there a chance he might be able to play at some point this season, or is that sort of a you wait and see, and he's got some more marinating to do?
For these particularly last 2 games, he hasn't come up of like we need to get this guy in the game. I do think he's going to be a really good college football player, and in fairness to him, to where he's at as a true freshman at the offensive line, want to make sure we put him in the best position possible when he's physically and everything's ready to go, which is going to be sooner rather than later with him in particular. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, guys.